So I'm a little excited, mostly because I feel like this is a bit of a different opportunity for me, especially as it relates to Wi-Fi 6. I gave not this particular presentation, but a presentation around Wi-Fi 6 about 2 years ago now, maybe three, when Wi-Fi 6 was still like a new and developing technology for us. And so we almost get this chance to kind of look back and say, how did that go? You know, how did we get here? What were we excited for before? Does that feel like it materialized? And I know not everybody has made that jump yet. We're still in a transition to Wi-Fi 6. But I'm imagining a lot of this early information, at least, won't be new to some of you, just a bit of a refresher. So let's recap a bit. I've had this slide for a while and I just like it because it kind of shows where we've come from. Wireless is complicated, right? There's a bunch of different. We're trying to manage signal levels and propagation that's getting in the way of our signal strength and coverage. And we started out with maybe two devices in the environment, and now I'm up to 200. It feels like, or more. We started out with low throughputs. You look at 1999 Wi-Fi 1, 11 megs, and now with the Wi-Fi 6 standard, 9.6 gigs, and that's theoretical throughput, but that's a 1,000x improvement over the course of 20 years. So there's some incredible electromagnetic engineers, electrical engineers working on this technology and these standards, and we have come a long way. And what you're going to hear me talk about today is this concept of wired-like performance. Even going back 10 years, Wi-Fi 4, it always felt just a little too slow to use, predictably, constantly. Wi-Fi 5 gave us a big jump forward from that, and a lot of us probably rely pretty heavily on Wi-Fi. There's still this bent to kind of, um, you know, when you're crunched for performance, let's go ahead and plug in. Let's do that. In 2019, I sat at Cisco Live. I think the last time they had it in person. We're going to do that again here in a month or so. But they talked about this shift and looking for wireless first because we're closing the gap so much to wired-like performance that if I don't need a wire, then I'm not going to use it. And that preference exists tremendously in the market. So we talked a couple years ago about the adoption plan, and we were thinking kind of 2 to 3 years out would be the sweet spot where people start to acquire Wi-Fi 6 capable endpoints, your devices that are connecting to your access points, and then also Wi-Fi 6 access points. So I know the pandemic and supply chain issues, have put a wrench into things, but we're still very much moving down that path of full Wi-Fi 6 adoption. So for those of you that haven't adopted it yet, let's talk about just a few of the top reasons. Right, number one, which we're always going after, is higher capacity. Can I move things faster? But along with that, and we'll talk about that a little bit, but is improved security. That has risen, especially over the past 10 years, to become essential, critical when we're talking about networks. Is can I securely operate these networks? And so there's some advantages in moving to Wi-Fi 6. Reduced latency. This is one of the big ones as I push towards a wired-like performance, especially for sensitive traffic like voice and video, which you may have noticed we use a lot more over the past couple years. So that kind of reduced latency, and I like what they put on this slide, deterministic scheduling. It's just maybe even more so than reduced latency, it's just predictable latency and consistent latency. And we can work with that, right? If it's predictable and consistent, I can work with that. Power efficiency, greater IoT scale, improved interference mitigation, all these kind of factors come together. And there's a laundry list of technologies that are implemented with this new Wi-Fi 6 standard that push us forward in all of these directions. One I want to highlight, though, because I think it's a big chunk of it, and that is this concept of OFDMA.